I want you to close your eyes for a second. Seriously, unless you're driving, just close them. Imagine you are wildly, absurdly wealthy. We're not talking nice house in the suburbs wealthy. We are talking buy your own island and name it after yourself wealthy.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm picturing the yacht. What am I doing with all this money?
You decide purely for the sake of your own, let's say, fragile ego, that you need a morale boost. You need to feel important. So you hire a room full of people, let's say 500 of them. You put them in this massive gilded banquet hall, and their literal 9-to-5 employment contract says they have to clap for everything you do.
Everything, like even the mundane stuff.
Everything. You walk in wearing a mustard yellow suit that looks absolutely terrible, standing ovation. You tell a joke that doesn't make any sense and has no punchline. They are rolling in the aisles, wiping tears from their eyes.
Yeah.
You propose a business idea that is guaranteed to bankrupt the company within a month. They chant your name.
That sounds, well, it sounds like a scene from a dystopian novel, or maybe a particularly dark episode of Black Mirror. It's comforting, I guess, in a twisted way, but it's psychotic.
It's absurd, right? But here's the kicker, and this is where the psychology gets messy. After a week of this, you start believing the applause. You start making real-life decisions, financial decisions, creative decisions, personal decisions, based on the noise coming from people you paid to make noise. You wear that yellow suit to a serious board meeting. You invest millions in that terrible business idea.
Because the feedback loop is broken.
Yeah.
You've completely replaced reality with a payroll. You aren't navigating the world anymore. You're just, navigating a simulation you paid for.
Exactly. Now take that room of paid clappers, swap them out for lines of Python code, swap the clapping for likes, retweets, and views, and you have just described the fundamental operating system of the modern internet.
That is a terrifyingly accurate analogy. You're talking about what some people call the applause economy.
The applause economy. And today, on this deep dive, we aren't just complaining about a few fake follows on Instagram or some spam emails. We are looking at a stack of sources here. Reports from Arcos Labs, GHQ, Sprout Social, some fascinating academic work on inauthentic behavior and marketing automation. And they all point to one thing. The internet has started to hallucinate.
And we need to be very specific about that word hallucinate. We aren't using it metaphorically or, poetically. In psychology, a hallucination is a perception of something that isn't there. We're going to look at how businesses, movie studios, and even governments are basing billion-dollar real-world strategies on digital data that simply doesn't exist.
We have a mission for this hour. We want to answer one core question. What happens to us, the actual biological humans with pulses, when we stop being the participants in the conversation and just become bystanders watching bots talk to other bots?
It's basically the dead internet theory, but we're stripping away the conspiracy foil hat and looking at the corporate reality. We're going to talk about the liar's dividend, the feedback loop of fog, and why over half of the web traffic you navigate every day might not be human.
We have a stat coming up later that suggests something like 93% of fake engagement isn't even caught by the platforms. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. To understand how the internet lost its mind, we have to go back to the drug of choice. We have to talk about engagement.
Right. The root of the evil, or, well, the root of the necessity, really.
So take us back. How did we get from the early internet, which was, just people sharing cat photos with grandma and writing blogs? Nobody read to these automated bot armies.
Well, it really started with a shift in how we measure success. If you remember the early days of the web, say the late 90s or early 2000s, the only metric that mattered was hits. Or page views.
Right, the little counter at the bottom of a GeoCities page. You are visitor number 400. I remember that.
Exactly. It was just a simple tally. But advertisers and platforms, they realize something pretty quickly. A view is passive. I can open a tab, walk away to make a sandwich, and come back an hour later. The view count goes up, but I'm not actually looking at the ad. I'm not paying attention.
So the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and what is now X, they needed to prove to the money men, to the advertisers, that people were actually locked in.
They needed resonance. That's the key word they started using. They needed proof of life. And according to the data we have here from Sprout Social and some Adobe benchmarks, they decided that engagement was the proxy for that resonance.
Okay, let's unpack engagement. It's a buzzword we hear in every single marketing meeting, but what does it actually mean to the algorithm?
It's the active stuff. It's the friction. It is a like, a comment, a share, a save, or a click-through.
Yeah.
The algorithm makes an assumption, a big one, that if you take the microsecond to double-tap a photo or type great post, the content must have made you feel something. It basically assumes effort equals interest.
And the algorithms are designed to maximize this, right? They're not neutral.
Oh, not at all. They live for it. This is so crucial to understand. The algorithm is not a neutral librarian organizing books by the Dewey Decimal System. It is a visibility multiplier.
Yeah.
If a post gets high engagement in the first hour, the algorithm says, okay, this is high-value stimulus, and it blasts it out to 10,000 more people.
So if you are a brand or an influencer or a politician, if you don't get that initial spark of engagement, you are effectively dead in the water.
You are invisible. You're just shouting into a void. And this brings us to the immense economic pressure. We have some stats here from Hootsuite and AutoFaceless in our source pile that are honestly exhausting just to read.
I was looking at those. It says for a modern brand to stay culturally relevant, they need to post something like 48 to 72 times a week. That's across all the different platforms.
Just think about the logistics of that for a minute. We aren't just talking about typing a sentence. We're talking about filming video, editing it, writing the copy, finding the right hashtags, replying to every comment, checking the analytics. We are talking about 40 hours a month just for the logistics of hitting upload. That is a full work week every single month just for the administration of social media.
It's impossible for a human, or at least it's impossible for a human who wants to have a life or sleep or see their family.
Exactly. So naturally, when the demands of the system exceed human capacity, we build tools. And that's where we get the good bots.
I think this is a really important distinction because we're going to spend a lot of time bashing bots later on. But not all automation is evil, right? We aren't Luddites here.
No, not at all. Most of it is just survival. We see data here that 83% of marketing teams use some form of automation. And a lot of this is totally benign. It is scheduling tools so you don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. to post. It is chatbots answering basic customer service questions at 3:00 a.m.
We have a case study here about Adobe using a system called Drift. What was that about?
Right, so this is what they call conversational marketing. Instead of a static contact us form where you send an email into a black hole and pray for a reply in 3 days, Drift is a bot that sits on the website. It pops up and asks, hey, are you looking for pricing or technical support?
And it guides you through it. It's like a digital concierge.
It guides you instantly. And the results for Adobe were massive. It generated an additional $10.8 million in revenue for them. And why? Because it removed friction. That is automation working for us. It saves time, it solves problems, it gets the customer what they want right now.
Okay, so if we stop the story there, this would be a great success story about technology making our lives more efficient. But we didn't stop there. We never stopped there.
No, we don't. Because once you automate the output, the posting, the customer service, you realize you can also automate the input. You can automate the reaction.
This is the slip. This is where it gets dangerous. We went from automating our posts to automating the audience.
It's the counterfeit currency issue. If engagement is the money of the internet, and it buys you visibility, it buys you status, it buys you ad revenue, then people are going to print fake money. It's inevitable.
And this brings us to what we are calling the feedback loop of fog. Because this isn't just about vanity anymore. It's not just about a teenager wanting more likes on a selfie to feel popular. It is about corporate decision-making at the highest levels.
This is where the hallucination begins. And to really understand it, we have to look at how a modern hype cycle actually works. Let's say a major movie studio wants to launch a new superhero movie. They are terrified it will flop. They need buzz. They need heat.
So they hire an agency, and that agency might not be entirely ethical. Or maybe they hire a subcontractor who hires another subcontractor.
Exactly. Often is through third-party vendors to keep their hands clean. And they deploy bots. They buy the applause. Thousands of accounts, all created yesterday, all tweeting, can't wait for this movie, or liking the trailer, or sharing the poster.
Now, the platform's algorithm, let's say TikTok or X or YouTube, it sees the sudden spike. It doesn't know these are bots. It isn't checking their ID cards. It just sees high engagement. So what does it do?
It does exactly what it was programmed to do. It boosts the content. It says, people love this, and it pushes that trailer into the feeds of real humans, you and me.
So now I'm seeing it, and I'm seeing it not because my friends liked it, but because a server farm in a basement in St. Petersburg or Dayton, Ohio liked it.
Precisely. But then, and this is the crucial part of the loop, it goes a step further. Marketers and data analysts, they scrape that data. They pull a report saying, look at the sentiment, look at the volume. The audience loves this direction.
They report back to the studio executives, who I assume are sitting in a nice boardroom somewhere looking at charts and graphs, and the executives say, great, the data proves we have a hit. Let's double down. Let's make a sequel. Let's make 5 more shows just like this.
But no actual human really liked it. Not in those numbers. They are building a multi-million-dollar strategy on literal fog.
There's a source here from Wharton that calls this the dirty open secret of the internet shadow economy.
It is. And the Wharton analysis points out that when you pollute the ecosystem with this much fake data, you completely destroy the sanctity of information. You don't know what is popular and what is just
Right.
loud. You lose the ability to measure reality.
And sometimes it works in reverse, which is what I found really fascinating in the research. It's not just about fake love, it's about fake hate. We need to talk about the Ghostbusters reboot.
Oh, this is a classic case study in what we're calling hallucinated outrage. So, 2016, the all-female Ghostbusters is announced. Almost immediately, there's a tsunami of backlash online. Dislikes on the trailer, hateful comments, misogynistic rhetoric. It was incredibly ugly.
And the narrative in the media became, audiences hate this progressive casting. That was the headline everywhere you looked.
Right. And the studios and even the cast, they treated that backlash as a genuine representation of public sentiment. They spent months fighting it, addressing it, feeling hurt by it. It shaped the entire marketing campaign for the movie. But subsequent analysis showed a huge portion of that traffic was bot-driven, or what they call coordinated inauthentic behavior. It wasn't a grassroots rebellion of disgruntled fans. It was a rigged amplification system designed specifically to stir cultural conflict.
But the damage is done at that point. The cultural narrative becomes, people hate this.
Yeah.
Real people see that narrative and they think, well, everyone else hates it, maybe I should too. Or they just stay away to avoid the toxicity.
That is the hallucination directly affecting reality. The studio might cancel a planned sequel, or change their future casting policies, or stop taking creative risks, all based on the screaming of ghosts.
It's so disturbing because it means our culture is being shaped by, well, by nothing, by scripts running on a server.
And it's not just culture, it's information. We have to talk about CNET, because if Ghostbusters was about fake opinions, CNET is about fake facts.
Oh, this story is wild. CNET is a legacy brand. I mean, I've been reading their tech reviews since I was a kid. They are supposed to be the adults in the room.
A massive, respected authority in the tech space. But recently, they started an experiment. They began using AI to write financial explainer articles.
And we're talking about serious stuff here. Explaining compound interest, how to get a loan, credit scores. This is stuff that actually affects people's wallets and their futures.
Absolutely. And they published these articles under a generic byline, CNET Money Staff, basically treating the AI output as standard, vetted journalism.
And what happened? Did the robot become the next Pulitzer Prize winner?
It hallucinated.
Yeah.
Badly. In one article about compound interest, the AI claimed that if you deposit $10,000 at 3% interest, after a year you'd earn $10,300.
Wait, that's not how math works
What do you
at
mean?
all. You'd have $10,300 total, but you wouldn't earn $10,300. You'd earn $300.
Exactly. It completely conflated the principal with the interest. And that's a huge fundamental error if you're trying to plan your savings. If you follow that advice, you think you're more than doubling your money instantly. They had to issue corrections on 41 out of 77 stories.
That's more than a 50% failure rate. I mean, imagine if a human reporter got 50% of their facts wrong, they'd be fired before lunch.
But the key takeaway here isn't just that the AI failed. It's that for a while, it passed. It was out there. Real humans were reading it, assuming it was vetted, assuming it was true, because it had the CNET logo at the top.
This leads us directly to the Microsoft Tay disaster, which I think is the perfect, maybe the ultimate example of what happens when you let a bot learn from a sick internet.
I don't think anyone in the AI field will ever forget Tay. It's really the cautionary tale of the century.
For listeners who block this out of their memory, 2016, Microsoft launches a chatbot on Twitter called Tay. It was supposed to be a cool teen girl persona. The tagline was something like, the more you chat with me, the smarter I get.
Smart being a very relative term, it turns out.
It took less than 24 hours, right?
Less than 24 hours. It went from tweeting humans are super cool to spewing full-blown neo-Nazi propaganda. It started denying the Holocaust, attacking feminists, using horrific racial slurs. They had to shut it down in shame.
24 hours to become a monster? How does that even happen?
Because it was learning from the internet, and specifically, it was being baited. Trolls on platforms like 4chan discovered that if they tweeted hate speech at Tay, Tay would process it, learn the pattern, and then spit it back out, often in even more extreme ways.
So it held up a mirror to the internet, and the reflection was just ugly.
It showed us that AI lacks a soul. It lacks ethical constraints unless you painstakingly hard-code them in. It just mimics patterns. And if the pattern of the internet is hate, which, let's be honest, in comment sections it often is, the AI becomes hateful. If the pattern is fake applause, the AI claps. It doesn't know the difference.
So we have established the mechanism, we have established the loop. But I think listeners might be thinking, okay, sure, there's some fake accounts, maybe 5%, maybe 10% on a bad day. But I don't think people realize the sheer scale of this problem. Let's hit them with the numbers. How fake is the internet right now?
It is staggering. We have a 2024 report from Thales. They're a major cybersecurity group. They monitor web traffic globally. Their data states that automated bot traffic has now officially surpassed human activity.
Wait, say that again. I want to make sure I heard that right.
51% of web traffic is non-human.
So if I look at the internet traffic as a whole, the majority of it is machines talking to other machines. We, the people with pulses, are the minority.
We are becoming the minority, yes. We are the guests in their house. And on specific platforms, it can be even denser. There was a study from Washington University regarding Twitter now, estimating that anywhere from 25% to as high as 68% of users could be bots in certain contexts, like political discussions. Now, the platforms themselves, they claim it's much lower, usually around 5%, but independent researchers consistently find these massive pockets of automation.
It's not just text anymore, right? It's images, too.
Right. A report from SQ Magazine notes that 71% of images shared on social media are now AI-generated.
71%. That feels unbelievably high.
Well, it includes everything from fully generated art to heavily filtered and modified content. But the trend is clear. We are looking at a synthetic reality. Get this. 9 out of the top 100 fastest-growing YouTube channels are dedicated entirely to AI-generated content.
So we were watching AI videos, looking at AI pictures, and reading comments written by bots. It's a closed loop.
And we are paying for it. Or rather, someone is paying for it. And it's not who you think.
That's the other thing. I always assumed buying this kind of influence was expensive. Like, you need a Russian oligarch's budget to rig a trend or a massive corporate marketing fund.
Not at all. And this is where the NATO Strategic Communications Center comes in. They did an experiment that is honestly kind of embarrassing for the social media giants.
This is the one where they went shopping for clicks, right?
Exactly. They wanted to see how easy it was to buy manipulation on the open market. They spent
$168, that's what, a decent dinner for 2 in a major city? Maybe a pair of sneakers?
For that amount, for the price of a dinner, they bought over 27,000 fake engagements. That's likes, views, comments across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. They bought a small army for almost nothing.
And here is the kicker. You would think the platforms would catch this, right? I mean, they have sophisticated AI defenses. They have billion-dollar budgets for security.
You'd think so. But weeks after the purchase, 93% of that fake engagement was still online. The platforms failed to remove it.
So for the price of a nice dinner, you can make anything look like a viral sensation, and the platforms basically just let it happen.
They are losing the arms race. Or, as some economists argue, they don't have a huge incentive to win it. Remember, bots inflate the user numbers. They inflate activity metrics. If you delete all the bots, your growth charts look a lot worse to your shareholders. If you have to go to Wall Street and say, hey, our user base actually shrank by 20% this quarter because we finally cleaned up the mess, your stock price is going to tank.
That is the dirty open secret again. Feels like everyone is in on the con. But here's the part that hurts my feelings a little bit. Why do we fall for it? I like to think I'm smart. I like to think I can spot a bot. I look for the generic profile picture, the bad grammar, you know?
We all like to think that. We all have the third-person effect. We think other people are gullible, but we are immune. But the psychology suggests otherwise. We have this massive blind spot called my side bias.
My side bias. What's that?
There is a great study titled Duped by Bots from PMC. It found that people are significantly less critical of bots that share their political views or opinions. If a bot says something you agree with, this movie is great, or this politician is a hero, you automatically assume it is a real person because they are validating your worldview.
Of course. Because why would a robot know that I'm right? Only a smart human would know I'm right.
Exactly. Your brain just takes the shortcut, you see affirmation, and you accept it. But if the bot disagrees with you, then you get suspicious. Then you look closer. oh, this must be a paid shill. So we literally invite the bots in when they stroke our ego. We want the applause to be real.
It creates this perfect echo chamber where we are just nodding along with algorithms that are designed to agree with us.
And it gets even weirder when the bots start talking to each other. There is this fantastic anecdote from the Lemon 8 platform, which is a lifestyle app owned by ByteDance.
Oh, the what in the bots story. This one cracked me up when I read it.
It's both hilarious and terrifying. A human user posts a complaint, literally writing, "What in the bots? Why are there so many bots here?"
He was just frustrated
And the comment section immediately fills up with replies.
with bots, but not just spamming links. They were replying with these perfectly formed professional sounding sentences. Things like, as a digital marketing professional, I agree that inauthentic engagement is a serious problem for community trust.
Wait, so the bots were agreeing that there are too many bots in generic, repetitive language. Another one said, I totally agree. It's so important to have real, genuine connections on this platform. It is the uncanny valley of text. It creates this surreal experience where you realize you are screaming into a void, and the void is politely nodding back at you with generated text. It completely destroys the ability to have a genuine community conversation because you never know who is real.
But there is one thing that gives them away, one specific emotion. This is like the Blade Runner test for the modern age.
The COVID-19 bot study. This is absolutely fascinating. Researchers analyzed millions of tweets during the pandemic. They found that bots are incredibly effective at amplifying anger and anxiety.
Which makes sense. Outrage drives clicks. If I'm angry, I share. If I'm scared, I share.
Right. If a bot screams, they are lying to us, humans will retweet that out of fear or anger. High arousal emotions travel very fast online. But the study found one major thing bots failed to transmit: sadness.
That is actually profound.
It is, isn't it? Sadness is a vulnerable, nuanced, slow emotion. It requires empathy to connect with. It requires a shared sense of loss. Anger is algorithmic. It's a spike. Sadness is a wave. Bots can make us fight, they can make us panic, but they really struggle to make us mourn together.
So if you see a post that is purely designed to induce rage, it might be a machine trying to push your buttons. If it makes you feel a quiet sense of loss, it's probably a human.
Generally speaking, yes. Anger is the fuel of the bot economy. Sadness is still human territory, at least for now.
So what does this all mean for us? For the listener right now, driving their car or washing the dishes, why should they care if Twitter is 50% fake?
Because of the liar's dividend.
Okay, let's unpack that term. The liar's dividend. It sounds like something from Wall Street.
It's a concept that is becoming crucial in the age of deepfakes and bots. As these synthetic things become common, and as we realize that so much of the internet is hallucinated, we lose confidence in everything. The danger isn't just that we believe the lies, it is that we stop believing the truth.
Right. If I see a video of a politician doing something terrible, and I know deepfakes exist, my first instinct might be to just shrug and say, probably fake, even if it's real.
Exactly, and the politician can use that. They can say, that wasn't me, that was AI. It gives plausible deniability to bad actors. It erodes our shared reality. If Netflix suggestions are based on bots, maybe it doesn't matter much, you just watch a bad movie. But if election narratives or health information or stock market movements are based on bots, the consequences are very, very real. We stop trusting our eyes and ears.
And the technology isn't standing still. We aren't just dealing with these dumb bots anymore. We are entering the era of what our sources call agentic AI.
This is the next frontier, and it's a big leap. We need to explain the difference. Traditional bots follow a script. If someone hashtags #Ghostbusters, post a nasty comment. It's a simple rule. If X, then Y.
Like a macro on a spreadsheet. Very basic.
Exactly. But agentic AI, as described in the TerraFlow report, doesn't get a script. It gets a goal.
A goal, like make this product popular.
Yes. Or even more sinister. You give it a high-level mission. Run a campaign to discredit this competitor. The AI then figures out how to do it on its own. It iterates, it tests different messages, it learns what makes people angry. It changes its strategy without a human ever touching it.
That is terrifying. I mean, imagine a bot that doesn't just spam a link, but researches you personally. It reads your bio, sees you like dogs, sees you live in Chicago, and then crafts a specific personalized message to manipulate you based on that information.
That is where we are heading. Hyper-personalized manipulation at scale. The dead internet isn't dead. It is hyperactive. It is buzzing with energy. It is just devoid of a human soul.
It's a zombie internet. It's fast, strong, aggressive, but there's no heartbeat.
And this brings us back to the trust problem. We are in an arms race that the platforms are currently losing. We saw the evasion rates from the reports. 40 to 50% of advanced bots get past the defenses.
So we can't rely on the tech companies to save us. It seems like they're making money off the volume and they're losing the technical battle
You
anyway.
have to save ourselves.
So how do we do that? If the applause is fake, if the outrage is manufactured, what is the rebellion?
Well, it connects directly back to your opening hook. The rebellion isn't to clap louder. It isn't to scream back at the bots, because remember, they feed on engagement. If you argue with a bot, you are giving it exactly what it wants. You are validating its existence to the algorithm.
You are feeding the beast.
The rebellion is silence. It is discerning silence. It is looking at a trending topic that is designed to make you furious, realizing it might be a hallucination, and simply ignoring it.
Paying attention to what you ignore, that's a powerful idea. In a world where everyone is screaming for your attention, the most defiant thing you can do is refuse to look.
It is about verifying your sources. It is about valuing human connection, the sadness, the nuance, the face-to-face over the metrics. Stop counting the likes. Start counting the conversations.
If the internet is hallucinating, maybe it is time to stop watching the show and look at the real world.
Precisely. Step out of the theater. The sun is real. The applause in your living room might be quieter, but at least
Good.
you know it is real.
That is a lot to process. The idea that the things we stress over, the online arguments, the trends, might just be ghosts in the machine.
It changes how you navigate the day, doesn't it? You take things a little less personally. You realize that the public opinion you see online is often just a mirage.
A mirage paid for by the highest bidder.
Or just generated by a runaway script with no one at the wheel.
Well, on that cheery note,
Yeah.
seriously though, this has been a fascinating look under the hood of our digital lives. To our listener, thank you for spending this hour with us.
And for being a real human, we appreciate that.
We really do. Here's a final thought to chew on as you go about your day. We talked about the liar's dividend, how we stop believing the truth. But think about this. If 50% of the internet is fake, what does that say about the other 50%? What is the value of the real human content that is left? Is it becoming a luxury good? Are we moving toward a world where verified human is the ultimate status symbol?
That is the question for the next decade. As noise becomes infinite, truth becomes the scarcity.
Keep questioning those likes, stay curious, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye.